So we're here today to second fix some outside lights. So let's go. First things first, have a little count up on how many lights we're putting in. So that was 2 out the back, another one around there, another one along there. These are all the way along the back. Make sure we get the right lights that we're going to put up, and then 2 out the back of these French doors. So that's them all. So 9 lights second fixed. Let's get cracking. And these ones. So the lights have been dumped by the back door, so we'll get them to where we're going to put them, and these ones are going out the back here. So we open them up to start with, to make sure, see what we're dealing with, and to make sure that everything's there as well, because sometimes they might be cracked or damaged, anything like that, especially these the lights, because these are what the customer has supplied. Beautiful. Freaking hate these things. Right, now your safe isolation. So I've got waggles on the end of these for when it's wide, so we'll put the little tester on the end to make sure that it's off before we work on it, because the last thing we want to do is get shock. Turn it on from the inside. Yep, we've got live. So let's run round to the board. And before anyone says, yes, the house is empty and people could come in maybe and turn it on, but I'm confident that I'm here on my own, so I'm just going to knock all the lighting circuits off so I know it's dead. Also, I will run back and make sure to confirm that it is dead, that there is not 240 volts there anymore, and as you can see, there's not. So to start with, we want to mount the bracket of what the light's fitting onto. So we'll level it out to make sure, but hang about, let's put the light up first to see where the position is going to go. So that's where we want to put the bracket, basically. So obviously it covers up the hole where the cable's coming out the wall. So we're going to measure up where the bracket wants to go, so it'll keep it nice and level, and then obviously both at the same height as well. So I've figured out the gist of where the light wants to go, and then I want to put my level on it to make sure obviously it's level once you've fix it into the wall. So I stick my level on it and then mark the holes up for where I'm going to drill the holes. Yeah, I know you can hear the guy mowing his lawn in the background. Yeah, I know, couldn't do nothing about that. Now, just a little thought, this was wired before these doors were in. So I want to do some measurements just to make sure that they are level. So I'm going to measure it so that they're the right height, and then also I want to measure it to see if they're at the right position. So we'll second fix this one as well, mark the holes out. But this is where I wanted to make sure that the lights were level to the door, because the last thing we want to do is put them up and they look wonky, because I can guarantee you the customer will notice they look wonky. They won't care if they work or not. If they look not symmetrical, I like to try and do a job how I do it in my own house. So this one was slightly off, so you had to move it on, but luckily the lights were big enough to be able to move it over a bit and to keep them symmetrical to the door. So then now we'll get the SDS drill. I know you could do it with any old drill because it's sandstone blocks in a way, but I like to use the SDS because obviously I had it out and it will do a nice neat hole, nice and fast on hammer to get it in. And that's one light done, so we've marked our holes out so we can just drill the holes simply for the other one as well. And then we can come along and pop our red plugs in. So obviously that's what we want to use to get them nice and tight. Take some decent plugs in and they go nice and tight in there. Didn't even have to hit it with a screwdriver there. And where the hole comes through the house, I wanted to put a bit of silicone in there because you don't want creepy crawlers coming in through, or air getting through, or water getting into the wall. For any reason, I just always fill the holes with a bit of silicone so nothing comes in there. I just like doing it. That's what I do in my own house. So fill a bit of silicone in there to seal the holes up, so no water will get in there or nothing will come out in effect. And then I suppose a lot of you guys do this as well, stick a screw in the end to stop that silicone drying up. And now all we need is a couple of screws to fix it up. So firstly, I'm just going to put the brackets in a little bit of finger tight so I can get them up there. Just put the screws in, so obviously then I can go and get my level and get the level on it to make sure that it's fixed, well, level, to be honest. And it just saves time doing both at the same time. I've got all my kit out, so I can do both at the same time, move over to one to the other. As your way goes right in your face. Now get the levels out and then drill and fix it back. Use your impact driver to get it nice and tight. So yep, that bubble's nice and level. So you tighten it up. And this is the part of the video where you're just watching me level out a light. So I might as well say, drop a like and subscribe. Leave a comment of some outside lights that you've done. This is quite a relatively easy job, I think. And I had fun doing it, sitting there on my own in a big old house. And whilst you've got the same tools in your hand, you might as well do the other one. This just makes things a little bit faster, I think. If you can do the same job with the same tool in your hand as much as you can. I should really have done all the lights at the same time, but these were two different lights. And the little cables or the connector block it came with, I want to scrap that off because I want to use my own connectors. I want to use the Wagos, to be honest, because I think they're better connectors. So I'm going to re-terminate these after I've chopped that box off the end and put them into the Wagos that are on the wall. I was going to edit this bit out, but as you can see, they don't go in there properly. You have to twist them together, which you should. I know you shouldn't twist them and stuff, but it makes it easier for you to go into the Wagos. But they weren't strong enough to go into the Wago to get a decent fit in. So obviously, you make do and have a plan B. Get your little Pharrell kit out. So I want to put Pharrells on the end. I've got a selection of them there, so to make it easier to go into the Wagos, I'm going to stick Pharrells on the end of these cables because then they'll fit in nice and tight. The last thing you want to do is just bodge it sort of thing, so it goes in there, it's not tight. So I wanted to put Pharrells on the end so they push into the Wagos nice and tight and a good fitting, so they'll last forever. And then now they've got the Pharrells on the end, they push in beautifully. As you can see in there, it might be a bit of a tough, but the Pharrells are small enough to go in the shroud as well of the Pharrell, to go in there, a nice hook onto the live and neutral, spot on. But of course, no light is going to work without a lamp in it, so I had to search around the house to find some lamps. I'm assuming they're around there somewhere, but jackpot, there we go, we found them. It was surprising the amount of lights and fittings and fixtures and fittings it's got laying around in this house, that luckily I found them. So run back downstairs and fit the lamps. Now these lamps are quite delicate. They're LED, which fantastic. You bought LED ones. That one looks a bit damaged. I'll let him know, but obviously I'm going to try and see if it works to get it in there so it looks nice. So we're going to screw the lamps in, just hand tight, as you can see as well. Weren't happy with that one either. I don't know if we bulk bought a load and they may have got damaged while laying around, but we're going to put them in to see if they work so I can prove the lights work, because it'll be easy enough to change later on. And pop back to the board, put the mains back on, bish bash bosh, and then run round to turn the light switch on at the French doors, these ones. And just to finish the lights off, we've got to put these globes on. They're quite delicate. The last thing you want to do is drop these, because then you've got to go and order new lights to get the glass fittings. So I've got to be careful. And then these little grub screws that sort of locate the lamp on, the lamp that goes around the glass bit. So you've got to finger tighten them up as well. They didn't have, normally they have a rubber bit on the end of the screws so they go nice against the glass, but I had to be careful here. Do not tighten these up with any grips or anything like that, because they will snap the bulb or smash the bulb and then it will be a nightmare. So let's unpack the other one. And do the same thing again. You've got to unscrew them a bit so they locate straight up. I unscrewed all three because I wanted to be nice and tight, but I knew I was going to do it at finger tight again anyway, because I didn't want to, well, the last thing you want to do is smash the lampshade that goes around it, because I didn't want to have to order another one. But to put it in there nice and delicate, got to be careful because this is thin glass. They're only meant to look nice. I reckon a bit of hailstone would break these, so hopefully they last until I'm gone at least. And then pop back inside, switch it on the switch, and turn round. Yes, they all work. Look at that, it's on. They're both on, spot on. So that's one job done. So now we're moving on to the other lights, which again, safe isolation because we've turned the board back on. So let's stick our little tester in here, go to the light switch, turn them on to make sure that we've got the right circuit. I want to see if we've got 240 there to start with. Yep, we've got 240. So back to the board, and we're going to just switch all the lighting circuit off again. All the lighting circuits, safe isolation, knock them off, we'll be done. There's no one in the house, no one's using anything, so it's fine. If someone was living there, I'll probably determine which circuit was which. But right, let's unpack these lights and see how these are going to fit up. You've always got to get the lights out of the box and take them to bits first, just to see how they're going to go up. Let's try one. They've got them stupid little connector blocks in there. We'll replace them. There's a rubber bracket as well. So how they're going to fit up on this stone wall, which is going to be a bit of a bummer, to be honest, but we're going to get them the best as we can. So let's fix the back of the light on there and obviously get it level, because we want to make sure it's all nice and level, because the customer will always notice if it looks wonky. They'll stand at the back of the garden and go, that one's wonky. Again, put a bit of silicone inside these holes to seal them up. And once you've got that silicone gun in your hand, you might as well do the rest of the lights. These are all on the same circuit, so I'm going to just fill the holes for all of them in every light, just to not stop any creeper crawlers coming in, because you know if a slug gets through there into the house, it just looks crap. So right, I've drilled the holes, and now we're going to fix the box. Now I'm going to be a bit careful with these ones to make sure that the box goes level on, because it's a stone wall and it's uneven. You've got to try and get it on as best as you can, rather than chop the stonework out. I didn't want it to look a mess, because then you can't change it for different lights later on, and maybe the lights might be smaller later on. So I didn't want to chopping the stonework out. So I'll get some decent long screws, enough to fix them in. And then again, get your trusty old level, because yeah, you want to make sure they're nice and straight. Everything's got to be straight, especially second fixing. Your level is your best friend on second fixing. Put that rubber bracket back on, now it's on there. And then also the little grommet that I ripped out earlier on. So I've got to try and fix that little grommet in there nice and neat, so no water or anything gets in. And obviously these were left lovely and long, so we're going to strip them back. Strip the live earth and the neutral, because they'll be spot on inside the box, so we can strip them back to be able to terminate them into the Wagos, what we're going to use. And I love this little box of Wagos. Have a good selection to be able to use. So there's my 3 Wagos, live earth and neutral, with a little 3 block on there. So we're going to terminate this into the light. Now I have terminated the cables a bit, but that one, as you can see, I missed. So get my cutters just to terminate. You always do get a gist of how much you need to terminate to go into the Wagos properly. Some people measure them up to it. I don't really measure them up. Because I've done it so many times that I think, yeah, I know how much I need to chop back to terminate it into it. So I'm going to put the Wagos on first before actually fitting the light, just to make sure they all go nice and tight in. Give them a tug test as well to make sure they don't come out. Rather than forgetting to put the lamps in and twiddling around at top with them little Allen keys you get, I'm putting the lamps in now. because I only turn them on and forget. And say, hey, they don't work. But they do work. I just think on the lamps in them. So I want to get on the floor and whip them all to bits with the drill. It's going to make it 10 times easier than running around going up and down dropping the lamps or anything. So this is my plan, take the whole lamps to bits whilst you're on the floor, so I can fix all the back boxes, put all the lamps in, so once they're up and on they'll be working and I don't forget. And another little thing, I thought I'd drill the holes in the back of the box while you're on the floor as well. If I can get them all in one place and drill all the holes where I'm going to fix them, it's going to make my life a little bit easier. Voila. Even on? Yeah. Alright, so they're probably better at night. Yep. Yeah, no lamp in that one. That's the one I put up first, forgot about. So this is where they're all done on the wall. We're going to for a check round to make sure that they're all basically working. You can't really see them in the daylight, but once you get up to them, you can. Every single light's on, so it looks spot on. So let's check out the ones at the front door as well. We'll wander through the house. It's still in progress, no carpet obviously, but we'll put the front door ones on as well. Open the door up then. Right, let's go. And there we go. The front lights are on and working as well. Spot on. Now we're gonna wander round to the back door. There we go, back lights up as well. Job well done.